Welcome to the podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Mae.
And I'm Max, and we were had.
Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were.
All right. On today's...
Okay, sorry.
This is a disaster. This is going to be a good episode, let me tell you that.
Ben couldn't figure out how to zoom in on his notes again.
Google Docs is it's not user-friendly.
It's different. It's different.
It's not intuitive.
On today's episode, we are covering the Tamam Shud case, made famous in Australia in the 40s. This was requested by one of our fans.
Thank you, fan.
Pretty
Thank
insane
you.
that we have fans, and also that they're requesting topics.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
Wow.
He commented on one of our YouTube videos, and then I looked it up, and let me tell you something. It's a good case. It's
All right.
intense. I was just saying to you guys, we should cover more murdered men instead of all murdered women.
That's true. Is this our first murder? Well, it's our first murdered man. We had Zodiac.
Yeah.
But
But
we-
if you remember from Zodiac, he killed the women most of the time and left the men alive.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, he finished the job with the gals.
We're going to have equal opportunity victims.
If you're going to shoot them all, finish it. We were...
Also, our first Australia case, I think. First non-North America case,
Yeah,
I believe.
not counting cattle mutilation, which is worldwide.
Which is worldwide,
through
yeah.
the years. But yeah, this is
Silent
the-
Twins.
Actually, never mind.
Silent Twins.
Ancient art is everywhere.
Ancient art was everywhere.
I don't think we've ever had an American.
Just kidding. Okay. Tamam Shud.
The first Australian case, we're really going international. This is exciting. This is the Tamam Shud
Yacht loves
case.
pass. We've done.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was Russian. That wasn't America.
No.
It's also known as the Mystery of the Somerton Man. It's an unsolved case of an unidentified man found dead in 1948 on the Somerton Park beach, just south of Adelaide, South Australia, Australia. The case is named after... That's what it says.
No, I'm
Is that
laughing at what it
proper?
says.
Yeah, because South Australia, I get must be it's the city of Adelaide. South Australia is the region, and Australia is the continent.
Does Australia have states?
Kind of like
Provinces.
Queenstown
Okay.
is like a province, and
That was
then
Queensland.
Queensland.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Queenstown.
You'd have to read that back. I'm pretty sure I said Queensland as well, and I think you
There's
said
no way of
Queenstown.
knowing. There's just no way of knowing.
There's no way of knowing. But yes, that's where I studied abroad. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Oh.
Where you lived for 6 months.
It's so crazy that you mentioned that. I lived there. All right, so the case is named after the Persian phrase Tamam Shud, meaning ended or finished, or most of the time in most articles it's like it is done or it is finished, which is even more dramatic, which is insane. It was printed on a scrap of paper found months later in the fob pocket of the man's trousers.
What's a fob pocket?
You know the word.
pocket.
What do you keep the fob pocket? Yeah, right there.
Oh, okay.
I would assume. I don't know why it took them months to look in the little pocket.
Yeah, right?
Maybe a fob pocket's harder to find.
I don't know what a fob pocket is.
We'll never know.
I know a
We'll
key
never-
fob, but that's not related.
Yes. Maybe it's like a Australian term for his asshole, and that's why it took so long.
Yeah, fob pocket.
Not a scrap of paper in his fob pocket. All right. The scrap had been torn from the final page of a copy of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, authored by 12th century poet Omar Khayyam. And I always say Omar Khayyam. You know what I mean?
Oh,
this
yeah,
generation's
everybody knows
Omar
him.
Khayyam is bad.
Right.
Stop, guys.
Following a public appeal by police, the book from which the page had been torn was located. This is just a brief overview, by the way. I'm
Okay,
thinking
okay.
Up top.
Can I ask a question first?
No, go ahead. What was that?
Is the guy Persian?
No.
Oh, okay.
So it's just the book is a Persian text.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
actually
Persian
read
poetry.
parts of it for a history class. It's very famous.
It's the.
I'm just saying it's not like some deep cut 12th century. It's like that's
yeah,
a big
yeah.
book.
Interesting that you say that because there were other copies involved. On the inside back cover of the book, they found the book. Well, we'll get into that later. Detectives were able to read through indentations left from previous handwriting. A local telephone number was found, another identified number, and text that resembled an encrypted message. I have all of this down below. The text has not been deciphered or interpreted in a way that satisfies authorities on the case, even though a lot of people have tried. A lot of so-called experts. Sleuths, amateur and otherwise. One of Australia's most profound mysteries. There's also intense speculation over the identity because the cause of his death, the events leading up to it, it was such a public thing. Also, it was right around the beginning of the Cold War. Was it a spy thing? There's a secret code, undetectable poison. Listen, it's got everything you want in a murder.
Wow. I didn't even know that Australia got involved in wars. I thought they just chilled.
I think they've always been on our side, right?
They're always... Yeah, during the Cold War, they sent soldiers to Korea and Vietnam. They were very much on the American side.
I literally didn't know that they had an army.
On their grave.
What did you say?
They don't have an army.
They don't have an army. They just are wicked hot and surf or some shit. I don't know.
That's it.
That's all they do.
All right. In addition to intense public interest in Australia during the late 40s and early 50s, the Tamam Shud case also attracted international attention. They brought in a lot of people because they consulted their counterparts to identify him, circulation of the photograph, the fingerprints, no positive identification, literally Scotland Yard, which you always hear about because of Sherlock Holmes. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, was also unable to match the dead
From
man's
now on
fingerprints.
in the podcast, we'll refer to it as the FBI.
So that's not confusing.
Yes.
And there have been many false identifications, but nothing official. Okay. So do you want to get into the nitty? Are you prepared for this? Because this is dense. This is a lot. There's a lot going into it.
Let's buckle up.
I'm already pretty tired. I'm always sweating like a whore in church at the end of the one time I'm in charge because it's there's so much pressure.
A lot.
It's a lot of reading, and you guys will ask questions, and then I regret asking questions because I'm in the hot seat. You're like, oh, why'd they find that? And you're like, I don't know. I read what's here. I don't know anything.
I don't have any privileged information.
I don't have anything else. All right. So the discovery of the body.
Here we go.
All right.
Was 7 o'clock.
Quick question about the discovery of the body.
Was it a full body, though? We're not talking torso. We're talking full-ass body.
Okay. Yes, that's actually interesting. This is our second torso-related case.
Yes.
But that torso was attached to a... Remember when...
Fair to say, first torso not in America case.
First torso. Also, the torsos on a... Remember when Mae was 2 torsos in the same spot in my town? They were in different towns, and also the woman's body was complete. She had a torso. Does that count?
She had her teeth missing.
Mae goes, identical cases. You're not going to believe it. They had nothing to do with each other.
Same peninsula.
It was 7 o'clock in the afternoon. That's evening in my world. 1948, when a married couple passed by this man's body. They thought he was just drunk and so ignored and passed by. There was another group of people who had passed by just a few minutes after, but they also ignored him. Great stuff, Adelaide. The next day, when the married couple came out to the beach once again, they realized that it was the same man lying there in the same spot. Suspecting that something was wrong, the married couple called 911 immediately.
Oh, interesting. It's 911 in Australia, too.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, I didn't even clock that.
Yeah.
That's nice to know. So we really are on the same side, Emma. Yeah. Witnesses who came forward said that on the evening of 30 November, November 30th. Now, you'll notice that in other countries, they'd like to put the number ahead of the month. Yes, I don't love it.
I hate it.
They had seen an individual resembling the dead man laying on his back in the same spot and position near the crippled children's home, where the corpse was later found. A couple who saw him at around 7 p.m. noted that they saw him extend his right arm to its fullest extent and then drop it limply. That might have been the last-ditch effort to live, or a last convulsion, if you will.
Oh.
Another couple
before rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis, yes. Another couple who saw him from 7:30 to 8, during which time the streetlights had come on, recounted that they did not see him move during that half hour in which he was in view. So I guess they were just looking at him for a half hour straight. But they did have the impression that his position had changed, so maybe he slumped. I don't know. Okay. They commented betwixt themselves that it was odd he was not reacting to the mosquitoes. So they were just looking at this apparently dead man getting bit by mosquitoes going, he's not even swatting at them. They thought it was likely he was drunk or asleep and did not investigate further.
They looked at this for a half an hour. They couldn't have actually been looking for a half an hour.
No way.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Well, they had probably had better things to do. One of the witnesses told the police she observed a man looking down at the sleeping man from the top of the steps that led to the beach. Witnesses said the body was in the same position when the police viewed it.
Okay.
Another witness came forward in 1959.
How
This
much
is
time
9,
has
10
passed?
years
11
after,
years?
yeah.
Jesus.
Reported to the police that he and 3 others had seen a well-dressed man carrying another man on his shoulders along Somerton Park Beach the night before the body was found. A police report was made by Detective Don O'Doherty.
Okay.
So that's kind of, there's some confliction here, because some
Yeah.
people were like, we saw him for a while. Was he brought there and dumped? Okay. According to the pathologist, John Burton Cleland, you know him, the man was of Britisher, that's in quotes, appearance, and thought to be aged about 40 to 45. He was in, quote, top physical condition. He was 5'11", gray eyes, cool.
Whoa, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Feared a ginger-colored here, slightly gray around the temples, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. Hands and nails that showed no signs of manual
Red
labor.
hair, gray eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This guy's cool,
That's
and he's
a
also
look.
built like a truck.
Yeah. Can I tell you, he sounds really hot.
Yeah, this guy fucks.
I actually saw the corpse photo. Very hot.
Big, and the corpse photo was
Yeah, did you see?
upsetting. No.
No, he looked hot.
No, he looks like a weird corpse.
Well, you can see that he's like
The-
an attractive man.
I will say the imagined drawings of him, like based on like paintings, and now there was like an electric one. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
The guy looks like Spy. Let me tell you that. Big and little toes that met in a wedge shape, like those of a dancer or someone who wore boots with pointed toes. And pronounced high calf muscles consistent with people who regularly wore boots or shoes with high heels or performed ballet. He was a ballerina. He was dressed in a
Wow.
white shirt, a red, white, and blue tie, brown trousers, socks and shoes, a brown pullover, and fashionable gray and brown double-breasted jacket of reportedly, quote, American tailoring.
Dapper.
Ooh.
All labels on his clothes had been removed, and he had no hat, unusual for 1948, or wallet. He was clean-shaven and carried no identification, which led police to believe he had committed suicide. Finally, his dental records were not able to be matched to any known person.
Wow.
An autopsy was conducted, and the pathologist estimated the time of death at around 2 a.m. on 1 December. Now, that December 1st.
Okay.
Here's what we found in the autopsy. The heart was of a normal size and normal in every way. Small vessels not commonly observed in the brain were easily discernible with congestion. There was congestion of the pharynx, and the gullet was covered with whitening of superficial layers of the mucosa with a patch of ulceration in the middle of it, obviously. The stomach was deeply congested. There was congestion in the second half of the duodenum. There was blood mixed with the food in the
Duodenum.
stomach. Huh?
Duodenum.
It's duodenum.
Duodenum.
My, what was it called?
Biology?
No, biology and, what was it?
Anatomy.
Anatomy teacher used to say duodenum. Was he wrong?
I'm pretty sure it's duodenum.
Duodenum.
I feel bad if I
Oh,
correct
my
you.
dad's a doctor. My mom's a doctor.
Yeah.
They both know duodenums.
I don't know. My dad's got an accent. So
yeah. Maybe your dad just saying it
Yeah.
incredibly wrong.
Both kidneys were congested, and the liver contained a great excess of blood in its vessels. The spleen was strikingly large, about 3 times normal size. There was destruction of the center of the liver lobules revealed under the microscope, acute gastritis hemorrhage, extensive congestion of the liver and spleen, and the congestion to the brain.
Okay.
So, okay.
So that's like all that is consistent with poisoning.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
There
Yes. But tests.
we go. Were we expected to know that?
Did you not know that? Did you guys? I thought I was just saying like obvious things.
No. I mean, it's
Not an
you're getting
autopsy
at it,
technician over here.
The
Acute
man's
gastritis. Oh, I didn't read acute gastritis
Yeah.
hemorrhage. Okay, got it. Yeah.
The
Obviously.
man's last meal was a pasty eaten 3 to 4 hours before
What's a
death.
pasty?
You know, it's like a pasty.
Like a
You're holding it like cognac.
like a pastry?
No, it's a pasty.
Okay. Oh, what's that horrible spread that Australians use? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, it's so
yeah,
bad.
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
Awful.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
They
with that
honestly, a
Vegemite.
pasty is probably
Disgusting.
they eat a lot of meat pies in Australia. Might have been something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Kind of like
a puff pastry around
like a little-
meat or
yeah,
something like that. Which
exactly.
that sounds good. Vegemite, on the other hand.
Tests failed.
Or I'm going to suggest another possibility, just out of left field. It's a typo and you meant pastry.
All right. Tests failed to reveal any foreign substance in the body. The pathologist, Dr. Dwyer, concluded, I am convinced the death could not have been natural. The poison I suggested was a barbiturate or a soluble hypnotic. Although poisoning remained a prime suspicion, the pasty was not believed to be the source of the poison. So get that out of your heads. Other than that, the coroner was unable to reach a conclusion as to the man's identity, cause of death, or whether the man seen alive at Somerton Beach on the evening of 30 November was the same man, as nobody had seen his face at that time. The body was then embalmed on 10 December 1948 after the police were unable to get a positive identification.
So I just want to ask one quick question. We had that thing that happened in 1959. We rewinded back to
Well, this is the
48.
day of,
okay, so
this
that
is-
thing that happened in 59, that other guy, we'll come back to that later.
What was the other guy?
Oh, there was the other another witness coming forward.
Honestly, they never mentioned that again in the case.
What?
I don't know why that is never mentioned again.
It feels like that's maybe like what's
Long
it?
page, and they really get into. I read several different articles, by the way.
Yeah.
And they get into the different suspects, all that kind of stuff.
And never comes up.
Nobody ever talks about the guys that were like, I saw some guy carrying another guy.
Okay.
Who cares
that
about
night.
that? That's a red herring.
That
Who
doesn't
cares
seem
about
right.
that?
It's too easy.
Ow.
That's too easy. Yeah, there's more of
That's
a
not
twist.
fun. Doesn't make a good podcast if it's that easy. You know?
All right, so they found the suitcase that they said it was his. So on 14 January 1949, staff at the Adelaide railway station discovered a brown suitcase with its label removed, which had been checked into the station cloakroom after 11 a.m. on 30 November 1948. Also, I just want to backtrack and say for this entire episode, I don't know how things are pronounced, okay? Adelaide, duodenum, anything. You know,
Okay.
Tamam Shud. Listen, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. It sounds right. So
Tamam Shud.
don't hold it against me. If you want to tear us apart in the comments, blame me.
Yep.
It was believed that the suitcase was owned by the man found on the beach. In the case were a red checked dressing gown, a size 7 red felt pair of slippers, 4 pairs of underpants, pajamas, spelled with a Y for some reason, shaving items, a light brown pair of trousers with sand in the cuffs, an electrician's screwdriver, a table knife cut down into a sharp instrument, like a fucking weapon. A pair of scissors with sharpened points, like a weapon. A small square of zinc thought to have been used as a protective sheath for the knife and scissors, and a stenciling brush, as used by third officers on merchant ships for stenciling cargo. He also, by the way, I forget if it was in the suitcase or on him, he had an aluminum cone that was not available in Australia. So they were like, he must have either been from America or had visited America recently.
And it's American. It's not British.
It said American.
Okay.
And why? How do they know that this was his suitcase, or why? Did
Yeah.
they assume
Why
that?
would they
Not
assume
said.
that?
Not
don't
said. Okay.
Not said.
Okay.
I don't know.
Also,
Okay.
I don't mean to. This is.
Is
I
he a
don't mean to make.
crossdresser or like?
It might be a woman's thing. Or also, but like
Yeah, is he
1940
dressing up like a
Remember
woman, or
when
is it a woman's-
Old men used to wear like nightgowns, basically, right? Like a nightshirt.
Did
right?
they wear
In the
red
big
felt
sleepy house?
pair of slippers?
On the nights they felt fancy? I don't know.
It says red checkered dressing gown. Doesn't that feel like
That feels
a
like a
woman's
woman's-
gown? Maybe.
Also,
it
I'm going to
belongs-
say for all the weapon stuff and the knife, I don't mean to sound like I'm stereotyping Australians. That seems par for the course for Australians.
Yeah,
I've seen
of course.
Crocodile
Yeah.
Dundee. They just always
Yeah.
have knives.
Well, you never know what's going to come out and
That's
try to
true.
fucking kill you. Let me
Yeah.
tell you that. All right, they got nothing from this. All the tags were removed from the clothing. All the tags were removed from the clothing, but that was common when buying secondhand clothes. Or someone removed all the tags because people would write their names on them. Like people would have
Oh.
name tags on their clothing. T. Keen was found on a tie and a dry cleaning bag, but something else. They surmised that was because it wasn't actually the guy's name. So they looked it up, but no T. Keen was supported missing. They checked. There was also a Keen with no E at the end, so Keane, and another time it was written with a Kean. So
Weird.
if somebody removed all the tags, they left these because his name wasn't actually Keen.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, there was an inquest. An inquest into the man's death conducted by coroner Thomas Erskine Cleland commenced a few days following the discovery of the body, but it was adjourned until 17 June 1949. Cleland, as investigating pathologist, re-examined the body and made a number of discoveries. He noted that the man's shoes were remarkably clean and appeared to have been recently polished, rather than the condition expected of a man who had apparently been wandering around Glenelg all day. You know Glenelg. Very dirty.
Dirty place.
Dirty
Glenelg.
place. Filthy. He added this evidence fit in with the theory that the body may have been brought to Somerton Beach after the man's death, almost like someone may have seen him being carried there, accounting for the lack of evidence of vomiting and convulsions, which are two of the main physiological reactions to the poisons. That's
Yeah,
why
there's
a lot of
no-
people say no poison. Like, how was he poisoned? Because he was just slumped there. and
Right.
There should have been poops and throws.
And throw up, yeah.
Yeah, over there. He should have just been covered in fluids.
Is that with every type of poison though? I'm wondering if there's like some sneaky poison that doesn't do that and it just like explodes
That's a
your
good
heart.
question. Somebody ends up making it's tied to a flower that I know that have the name.
Oh,
of that we
interesting.
get.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. That would be
That
a little
undetectable
cleaner.
and
Yeah.
I don't know if it's cleaner, but like there's a woman that's like it's got to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like this. So the guy says he was probably poisoned by something undetectable. Great crack there. After the inquest, a plaster cast was made of the man's head and shoulders. The lack of success in determining the identity and cause of death of the man had led authorities to call it an unparalleled mystery, in quotes, and believe that the cause of death might never be known. Great stuff.
So
All right,
Cleveland
wow.
calls it an unparalleled mystery.
Unparalleled mystery. Him and the
Okay.
authorities. You know, he was like most likely a poison, but not much I can go on. because nothing's detectable.
All right.
Let's talk about the book, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Around the same time as the inquest, a tiny piece of rolled up paper with the words Tamam Shud printed on it was found in a fob pocket sewn within the dead man's trouser pocket. So it looks like, okay, a fob pocket was sewn within the dead man's trouser pocket. So maybe it's like a second pocket, a secret pocket almost.
Okay.
Public library officials called in to translate the text, identified as a phrase meaning ended or finished, found on the last page of the Rubaiyat. As you know,
Creepy.
Ben read it. We all know he's fucking learned. Whatever.
Well, I clearly don't remember much.
Following a public appeal by police, the copy of the Rubaiyat from which the page had been torn was located. So a man showed up to the police station in 1940 with a 1941 edition of Edward Fitzgerald's translation of the Rubaiyat, published by whatever.
Someplace.
Okay.
Sergeant Lionel Lean, who led the initial investigation, often protected the privacy of witnesses in public statements by using pseudonyms. Lean referred to the man who found the book by the pseudonym Ronald Francis, and he has never officially been identified. Francis had not considered that the book might be connected to the case until he had seen an article in the previous day's newspaper. It's insane that he found this.
Yeah, that's crazy. And kind of suspicious in a way. Like, are you involved in this
happens
somehow?
a lot where it's like, shouldn't you pause here and be like, did you do it?
Yeah, yeah.
There is some uncertainty about the circumstances under which the book was found. You're not going to believe that.
Yep.
Because he just was like, hey, I've got that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty spooky if you had this book and like there was a little block taken out.
I guess.
They literally have pictures of it. There's a lot of cool pictures that we're going to find online because like you can literally see the last page of the book, just the square is cut out of it.
Oh, like perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly. So the theme of the Rubaiyat is that one should live life to the fullest and have no regrets when it ends. The poem's subject led police to theorize that the man had committed suicide by poison, although there was no other evidence to back the theory. So honestly, again, the cops are kind of like, suicide maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe no murder.
Just let us off the hook. We don't care.
So, the microscopic tests of the tiny piece of paper from the page torn, in the back of the book, there were faint indentations representing 5 lines of text in capital letters. The second line has been struck out, a fact that is considered significant due to its similarities to the fourth line and the possibility that it represents an error in encryption.
Okay.
So it's WRGO.
Oh, I thought this was a typo. I was just looking at the page of notes. Okay, yeah,
no,
please,
so it's
please.
like it's just a bunch of letters.
I thought you just randomly put up an eye test.
It looks like he was doing like nobody knows. So all different kinds of people have tried to do this. Let's jump to 1978, following a request from the ABC TV journalist Stuart Littlemore. Department of Defense cryptographers analyzed the handwritten text. The cryptographers reported that it would be impossible to provide a, quote, satisfactory answer. If the text were an encrypted message, its brevity meant that it had insufficient symbols from which a clear meaning could be extracted, and the text could be the meaningless product of a disturbed mind. Those are quotes. And also, a pretty big cop-out for the Department of Defense.
Yeah, pretty much. We can't solve this Rubik's Cube,
it's just
so
be
fuck it.
Disturbed mind.
Yeah.
Well, it might be. It's just someone who went like this on a keyboard. I mean,
Yeah.
And also, this is 1978. So this thing just, people don't stop thinking about it.
People have been caring about this for a long time.
Okay.
Especially because there's so much involved with it that is such a mystery. And
Yeah.
listen to this one. Jessica Thompson.
Okay.
All right, who's this
May's
bitch?
going to have it out for her because she's a woman who's a little suspicious. Let me tell you that.
Well,
May
the
goes,
line?
well, I've heard enough. Put her in jail.
You had me at woman.
you had me at woman.
So a telephone
sneaky
number.
slut.
A telephone number was also found in the back of the book, belonging to a nurse named Jessica Ellen Jo Thompson. She died in 1921 to 2007. She was born Jessie Harkness in the Sydney suburb of Marrickville, New South Wales. So she lived in Mosley on Mosley Street, Glenelg. She literally lived
That one is hard to say.
Glenelg?
Glenelg.
Yeah.
She lived about 400 meters or 1,300 feet north of the location where the body was found.
Wow.
Pretty suspicious.
That's close.
When she was interviewed by police, Thompson said that she did not know the dead man or why he would have her phone number and choose to visit her suburb on the night of his death. However, she also reported that at some time in late 1948, an unidentified man had attempted to visit her and asked a next-door neighbor about her. In his book on the case, Gary Feltus, you know Gary, stated that when he interviewed Thompson in 2002, he found that she was either being evasive or just did not wish to talk about it.
She's also 81 years old.
Yeah, she's like, huh? I don't. What is this?
Why are we still
Feltus?
talking?
Yeah, who's this fucking guy?
So Feltus believed
Why
that
are we
she
still
knew,
talking about the guy I murdered?
Yeah.
Feltus believed that she knew the man's name, and then I'll reveal that also her daughter had some suspicions as well. In 1949, Jessica Thompson requested that the police not keep a permanent record of her name or release her details to third parties, as it would be embarrassing and harmful to her reputation to be linked to such a case. The police obliged, which totally sucks because that could have been helpful in the investigation and also the encryption.
Yeah, what a stupid. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, potential
I don't
criminal.
know if the rules are different in 1949 or in Australia, but like witnesses like this that are that close to it, shouldn't you kind of like beat up that tree a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they always say, beat at that tree a little bit.
Yeah. Also, this like creepy man was coming and asking about me. No, this man was hot. Okay, this was a hot man. You can only be creepy if you're not hot. That's how it works.
That's terribly true.
That's
it really
a
is.
very good point.
When
Yeah.
How's
she looking? How's Jessica looking?
Honestly,
Yeah, so.
You looked at the photo when she was 81.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
smash.
do it. Yeah.
So when she was shown the plaster cast bust of the dead man, Thompson said she could not identify the person depicted. According to Leanne, the cop, the deputy, whatever, he described her reaction upon seeing the cast as, quote, completely taken aback to the point of giving the appearance that she was about to faint. In an interview many years later, Paul Lawson, the technician who made the cast and was present when Thompson viewed it, noted that after looking at the bust, she immediately looked away and would not look at it again.
Okay.
In conclusion,
Because
she
she
was
murdered.
shifty and totally lied about stuff.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're thinking Jessica.
I'm not thinking it. I think that she had more to do with it.
Yeah.
Than we'll let on.
You think she knew the guy?
So let's continue.
Well, she said she knew the guy.
Maybe she got
No,
rejected
she said she
by
didn't
him.
know the guy.
Oh, I thought she changed it.
She
Okay,
said,
so-
I have no
yeah.
idea why this man would have my phone number, why he would be in my neighborhood, or frankly, why he looks so familiar.
I don't know him outside of that time I murdered him. That's
I only know the way life looks when it leaves his eyes.
his gray eyes.
So she also said that while she was working at Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney during World War II, she had owned a copy of the Rubaiyat. In 1945, at the Clifton Gardens Hotel in Sydney, she had given it to an Australian Army lieutenant named Alf Boxall, who was serving at the time in the water transport section of the Royal Australian Engineers. Thompson told police that after the war ended, she had moved to Melbourne and married. She said that she had received a letter from Boxall and had replied, telling him that she was now married. Subsequent research suggests that her future husband, Prosper Thompson, was in the process of obtaining a divorce from his first wife in 1949, and that he did not marry Jessica until mid-1950.
Well, they could have been together, though.
There is no
Yeah,
evidence that
fucking
Boxall
slut.
had any contact with Jessica
This is
Thompson.
exonerating.
There is no evidence that Boxall had any contact with Jessica Thompson after 1945. So what's the truth?
Okay, so the idea here, this is this is a movie, if
Yeah.
this is the truth. So
Yeah.
she gives a copy of the Rubaiyat to this guy.
So
He
that's-
kind of becomes maybe a little obsessed.
Well, let's keep moving. As a
Okay.
result of their conversations with Thompson, police suspected that Boxall was the dead man.
Oh.
However, in July 1949, Boxall was found in Sydney, and the final page of his copy of the Rubaiyat, reportedly a 1924 edition published in Sydney, was intact,
Oh.
with the words Tamam Shud
So he's
still in place.
Got it. So he held on. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's not the dead body.
He's not the dead
He did
body,
hold
and
on
he,
to.
and he had the book that she gave him.
Yeah.
God, people are obsessed with this book.
Boxall was now working in
It's
the
got to be a great book.
He was working in the maintenance section before he did that. He was unaware of any link between the dead man and himself. In the front of the copy of the Rubaiyat that was given to Boxall, Jessica Harkness had signed herself Jestyn, Jestyn, and written out verse 70, famously, as we all know, says, Indeed, indeed, repentest oft before, I swore, but was I sober when I swore? And then came spring, and rose in hand, my threadbare penitence, a pieces tore, I killed the man, I did it, it was me.
I also take myself way too fucking seriously. Imagine
Yeah,
writing this down and be like, I'm so
real.
deep. I read the fucking Rubaiyat. And I'd be like, let's just have a beer on the beach.
Yeah,
you
let's
know?
just crush some beers.
Let's crush some beers. That's what I like to do.
beers. How about this? Was the guy a spy?
The person who was killed.
Yes.
Okay.
The Somerton man. Was he a spy?
Or was suicide? We don't know that.
Could have been a spy committing suicide. Something fun that you never hear about. So there has been persistent speculation that the dead man was a spy due to the circumstances and historical context of his death. At least 2 sites relatively close to Adelaide were of interest to spies. You know what? The spy adjacent places. The Radium Hill uranium mine and the Woomera test range, an Anglo-Australian military research facility. The man's death also coincided with a reorganization of Australian security agencies, which would culminate the following year with the founding of the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, or ASIO.
Okay.
This would be followed by a crackdown in Soviet espionage in Australia, which was revealed by intercepts of Soviet communications under the Verona Project. Do the Russians have something to do with it? Honestly, maybe, because I'm about to say something right now that might have something connected. Another theory concerns Alf Boxall. Remember him? I was just talking about him 20 seconds ago.
Yes.
He was reportedly involved in intelligence work during and immediately after World War II. In a 1978 interview, Stuart Littlemore asked, Mr. Boxall, you had been working, hadn't you, in an intelligence unit before you met this young woman, Jessica Harkness. Did you talk to her about that at all?
Okay, reply, I'll play Boxall.
Yes. In reply, Boxall says...
No.
And when asked if Harkness could have known, Boxall replies...
Not unless... Oh, does he have an accent? No, whatever. Not unless somebody else told her.
When Littlemore suggests in the interview that there may have been an espionage connection to the dead man in Adelaide, Boxall replies...
It's quite a melodramatic thesis, isn't it?
Oh, that was wonderful line reading.
Thanks.
Boxall's
That was a cold read. I swear to God, that was a cold read.
Boxall's Army service record suggests that he served initially in the 4th Water Transport Company before being seconded to the North Australia Observer Unit, a special operations unit, and during his time with NAOU, Boxall rose rapidly in rank, being promoted from lance corporal to lieutenant within 3 months. He was in special ops, moving up the ranks, almost like a fucking spy.
But Boxall has... So we know that Boxall has a connection to Jessica.
Right.
But we know obviously that Boxall lived on and lived in Sydney and all this stuff. So the idea is that Jessica is somehow linked to the body and that Boxall is therefore somehow linked to it.
The idea is that they're all spies. The idea is that Boxall was a spy, Jessica herself was a spy, and also this third man, also a spy.
I see.
Later on, and I'll tell you right now, that Jessica's daughter really throws her under the bus, by the way. But
Good for
Jessica
her.
Harkness, or whatever you want to call her, she spoke Russian and didn't tell her daughter why. When she was asked, how do you know Russian? She said she wouldn't tell her why.
And Jessica's just some Australian lady.
She's just some Australian lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Poison for sure? In 1994, John Harbour Phillips, Chief Justice of Victoria and Chairman of the Victorian Institute of Forensic Medicine, reviewed the case to determine the cause of death and concluded that, quote, there seems little doubt it was digitalis.
Digitalis?
Digitalis is the flower that I mentioned earlier. It can be turned into a poison. Phillips supported his conclusion by pointing out that the organs were engorged, consistent with digitalis, the lack of evidence of natural disease, and, quote, the absence of anything seen macroscopically which could account for the death.
Okay.
So this guy, John Harbour Phillips, the Chief Justice, said that it's got to be digitalis. I looked it up. It's a beautiful flower. Don't eat it.
He's a Chief Justice. He's basing it off of some scientist.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
he doesn't know.
So does he think that
digitalis from a fucking sunflower?
Rice.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rice.
Ryson's the only one that I know because of Breaking Bad.
Because Breaking Bad.
Yes. Yes. So people are saying that he ate the flower, but like, did somebody feed it to him in their food, or like he just like?
So the pasty, remember, definitely wasn't the pasty. So that's actually something that police were going back and forth on at the time, and also still to this day. Was the poison self-ingested or was it given to him?
Right. And then wouldn't they find this flower in his stomach if it was with the paste? Wouldn't it be with the pasty, or maybe it was like?
I don't know if you can crush it up, kind of ricin style, because remember that's untraceable too, as well. That's
So
what-
this is okay. So that's the thing with digitalis. It can.
I think so.
Okay.
Do I look like a poison boy?
No, I'm just assuming what. A little bit.
All right. H.C. Reynolds. There were countless false identifications, like he was a 63-year-old woodcutter or a dock worker. Those were some of the more prevalent ones. Apparently, he did have hands that were consistent with a woodcutter. But
I thought that his hands were like they didn't look like
manicured, but then it also said that he had hands consistent with a woodcutter, but one that hadn't touched any wood in the last 18 months. So he had cleaned up his act. So he quit woodcutting.
Are you really a woodcutter? Yeah. You haven't woodcut in 18 months? Okay.
So
It's like
none of the
comedians
fake-
that say comedian in their bio. I
That's
haven't
what I
done it
was
in
thinking.
fucking
never
a year and a half.
perform. Yeah. Shout out Mike Bramante, friend of the pod. So in 2011, an Adelaide woman contacted biological anthropologist Maciej Henberg about an identification card of an H.C. Reynolds that she had found in her father's possessions. The card, a document issued in the United States to foreign seamen during World War I, was given to Henberg in October 2011 for comparison of the ID photograph to that of the Somerton man. While Henberg found anatomical similarities in features such as the nose, lips, and eyes, he believed they were not as reliable as the close similarity of the ear. The ear shapes shared by both men were, quote, a very good match. Although Henberg also found what he called a, quote, unique identifier, a mole on the cheek that was the same shape and in the same position in both photographs.
So wait, so same ears, eyes, nose, lips, and a mole?
Together with the similarity of the ear characteristics, this man, in a forensic case, would allow me to make a rare statement positively identifying the Somerton man. That's
There we
quote.
go.
Okay.
2011.
Yep, here's the problem. Some independent researchers believe the ID card belonged to one Horace Charles Reynolds, a Tasmanian man who died in 1953 and therefore could not have been the Somerton man.
Oh.
Who died? Wait, when did he die? Sorry.
1953.
1953.
Right.
So it could have been this guy, but it seems like some of the sleuths found out that it wasn't him.
Okay.
But couldn't the records have been off a little bit? Because now we're talking about 2011.
Well, no. I mean, if they had records of his death, then he wasn't this mystery man that was dead.
Okay. All right.
Get your head out of here.
No, I just want him to find it. I want him to figure it out.
You see, it's very frustrating that they don't figure it out. All right. So,
I thought you were going to say that Ben always has his head up his ass.
see, it's very
Well, a little
frustrating.
bit both. Yeah, I know. It's
When
frustrating
the
for us
doctors
all.
exhume your body and your head's firmly up your ass, I'll tell them nobody did that to him. That was just the way he was. All right. In March 2009, a University of Adelaide team.
My head up my ass. Who's holding the Rubaiyat?
A University of Adelaide team in 2009, led by Professor Derek Abbott, began an attempt to solve the case through cracking the code and proposing to exhume the body to test for DNA. His investigations have led to questions concerning the assumptions police had made on the case. Guess what? They didn't solve anything with the fucking code. This code's impossible.
Okay.
I mean, the code could in theory just be nonsense, right?
The code
Yeah.
very much could be nonsense. It was also found in the back of that book, so somebody else could have done it. I don't know. This random guy found the book.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
that's
I don't
true.
know, but come on. That piece of paper, a weird code right next to it, a little too similar.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Some of the stuff that they were saying is maybe the code was not actually a code. Maybe it was just an anagram, just like a bunch of the letters were first words.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Those are the first
okay.
letters of words.
Well, that's impossible to crack.
Which
Right.
is impossible
You
to
wouldn't
crack.
be able
Some
to-
internet sleuths said something along the lines of like the first one was like whatever the sentence was like, on our way to meet up in Mosley Street with Jessica, whatever. 'Cause, like, the letters like met, and that was like you just wanted it to say something. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Santa
Right.
Claus fucked me in the back alley.
Right.
I'm sure you can just say something.
That's,
So, an investigation had shown that the Somerton man's autopsy reports of 1948 and 1949 are now missing. And the Barr Smith's Library's collection of Cleland's notes do not contain anything on the case. How is that How does this always happen with these cases?
right.
Maciej Henberg, professor of anatomy at the University of Adelaide, examined images of the Somerton's man ear. So we talked about this, the man. So this is the Henberg guy that was talking about found that his Simba, upper ear hollow, is larger than his cavum, a feature possessed by only 1 to 2% of the Caucasian population. In May 2009, Abbott consulted with dental experts who concluded the Somerton man had hypodontia, a rare genetic disorder of both lateral incisors, a feature present in only 2% of the general population. In June 2010, Abbott obtained a photograph of Jessica Thompson's, remember her? Mm-hmm. Eldest son, Robin Thompson, which clearly showed that he, like the unknown man, had not only a larger Simba than cavum, but also hypodontia. The chance that this was a coincidence has been estimated as being between 1 in 10 million and 1 in 20 million.
So this would be Jessica Thompson's son.
And this is implying that Jessica
Thompson.
That Jessica Thompson's eldest son is actually the son of the Somerton man.
Right.
Oh.
There's
Okay.
a 1 in 10 million chance that it's just a coincidence, but listen, she was 1,400 feet away, and her number was in the book.
So that would give her a, well, not motive, but at least a connection to the guy, and the fact that she's lying, sure.
So let's
Okay.
move on, Ben. Stop trying to guess. The media has suggested that Robin Thompson, who was 16 months old in 1948 and died in 2009, may have been a child of either Alf Boxall or the Somerton man and passed off as Prosper Thompson's son, her actual husband.
Right.
DNA
Oh.
testing would confirm or eliminate this speculation. Abbott believes in exhumation and an autosomal DNA test could link the Somerton man to a short list of surnames, which, along with existing clues to the man's identity, would be the, quote, final piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
He was refused exhumation a bunch of times, so they were like, it's just public curiosity. We need more to go off of than that.
Who was refusing the exhumation, though?
Attorney General John Rao.
Why?
Didn't think I had an answer to that one, did you?
But, like, how come?
He said there, quote, needs to be public interest reasons that go well beyond public curiosity or broad scientific interest. Seems like they just wanted to move away from this.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess in order to exhume a body, that's kind of a big
Also,
deal.
he said he was still contacted by people in Europe who believed the man was a missing relative, but did not believe in exhumation and finding the man's family grouping would provide answers to relatives, as during that period, so many war criminals changed their names and came to different countries. That's actually probably a thing. A lot of war criminals probably did, just kind of bop around.
Oh, yeah.
According to a 2015
Nazis in South
feature...
America?
Nazis in South America, yeah.
How about this? According to a 2015 feature in California Sunday, Abbott, the guy who did this, married Rachel, the daughter of Roma Egan and Robin Thompson, in 2010.
Okay.
He married the guy investigating this case, married the daughter of the possible son of the murder victim that he spent his whole life trying to solve. Is that not insane?
That's
Weird.
very insane. How
Yeah.
small is this fucking town?
Adelaide, man.
Yeah.
Get a life.
Get a life.
So he and his team found 3 good hairs from the plaster bust. The results revealed the man's mother had European ancestry, but offered no further clues.
Okay, that's like when I did 23andMe and it said, you're white. And I was like, you're fucking joking.
So, but after several years, they finally got the approval to exhume the body, which is great. They literally just did it, by the way. Like literally in April, they exhumed the body
April.
of this year. Like
What? It's like a month ago.
I was reading articles from 4 days ago, 6 days ago, talking about what happened.
Oh my
How
God.
fucking current is this case? How finger on the pulse are we had?
Wow.
So they exhumed the body and have a full suite of people from orthodontists to anthropologists looking at it. It's going to take a while, and even if they can recover testable DNA, it's only meaningful if they can test it against a relative. And keep in mind, at this point, it would be a grandchild, so that would only be a 1 in 4 of their DNA kind of thing. So it's a lot of ifs, but the body's out. They've got people just kind of ripping it apart, tip to taint, to kind of see if they can...
Man. That's quite a visual.
To see if they can
That
use it.
expression?
Really?
Tip to taint.
Did you just come up with that?
I don't know.
That was brilliant.
Tip to taint.
The alliteration.
All right, so we'll end with the... Is anybody else sweating? I feel like I'm under the hot seat. 60 Minutes. In November 2013, relatives of Jessica.
Okay.
Remember how her nickname was Jestin? What a
Ew,
stupid
what a
fucking name.
stupid fucking
What a
name.
stupid name for
What is-
a spy bitch.
For a stupid woman.
She's actually probably very sweet. So her family gave... Well, she's also probably a murderer.
Yeah.
They gave
Yeah.
interviews to the Channel 9 current affairs program, 16 Minutes. Kate Thompson, the daughter of Jessica and Prosper Thompson, and also wife of Abbott, said that her mother was the woman interviewed by the police and that her mother had told her she had lied to them. Jessica did know of the identity of the Somerton man, and his identity was also, quote, known to a level higher than the police force.
Oh.
Thompson's father had
God.
died in 1995.
God.
Sorry, this is Kate Thompson. Her daughter Rachel was the wife of. Rachel was her. You know what I mean? Sorry, Kate Thompson was Jessica Thompson's daughter. Rachel Thompson was Robin Thompson's daughter that the guy married. So
Okay.
I want to correct myself. Anyway.
Okay.
Thompson's father had died in 1995 and mother had died in 2007. She suggested that her mother and the Somerton man may have both been spies, noting that Jessica Thompson taught English to migrants, was interested in communism, and could speak Russian, although she would not disclose to her daughter where she had learned it or why.
That's weird.
That's
is
very
weird.
weird.
Robin Thompson.
And those are my thoughts on that.
Robin Thompson's widow, Roma Egan, and their daughter, Rachel Egan, that's the one who's
Okay.
married, also appeared on 60 Minutes, suggesting that the Somerton man was Robin's father and therefore Rachel's grandfather. The Egans reported lodging a new application with the Attorney General John Rao to have the Somerton man's body exhumed and the DNA tested. Derek Abbott also subsequently wrote to Rao in support of the Egans, saying that exhumation for DNA testing would be consistent with federal government policy of identifying soldiers in war graves to bring closure to their families. Kate Thompson opposed the exhumation as being disrespectful to her brother. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of weird crisscrosses to this. The fact that the guy Abbott ended up marrying into this family is still the one that makes me the most upset.
It's very,
That's so
it's
strange.
gross. I don't like it.
That's so strange.
Yeah, how that must have started. There couldn't have been a non.
Well, he must have talked to them.
No, right, but that's such a weird.
They didn't meet at a party.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
such a. Well, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, you don't say.
I'm looking for your grandfather.
Yeah.
So the articles that I was just literally reading this week were like still titles. The titles of the articles were like, well, we may never know what happened to the Somerton man. Like the 5 pieces of evidence that ended up being red herrings or nothing. And like they talk about the suitcase, the weird stuff in it. We always talk about a lot of red herrings here. We were had and focusing on the weird stuff. But here at this stuff, it all kind of seems important.
Yeah.
It seems like every time you go towards something, it seems like, okay, well, we're going to figure it out. Okay.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, thank you.
And then they just move away from it. They don't care.
Well, no, it's not that they move away from it, or it just ends like at a wall, a seawall that the man's body was found sitting against.
Yeah. The dress in the
That's
in
the
the
most upsetting
suitcase.
portion to you?
Well, it's strange.
Men don't wear women's clothes, Michael.
I do think there's got to be some way that Thompson is involved. I mean,
Well, it seems like a definitive kind of answer.
Oh, definitely.
there.
Yeah.
whether she killed him or not, I have no idea. But
Well-
something because if they were spies or whatever, it's possible she didn't kill him, but just still had to cover up whatever the hell happened.
Well, yeah, it seems like. Well, I watched several seasons of the show The Americans. Great program.
I've heard good things.
Oh, it's a wonderful program.
Yeah.
This kind of seems par for the course for spy folk. You know what I mean? Especially 1948.
Yeah.
Also, her daughter being like the government officials knew. That also seems like we were just like, oh, they came really close to it and then hit a wall. The police probably just stopped
Yeah.
it. The fact that
they were like, "Hey, stop doing this."
hey, you stop that. Also,
We
the
don't
fact
like
that like
this.
the notes were gone and they didn't
Yeah.
have the autopsy reports. Those were removed from the
Somebody from
Records.
up top, maybe God,
top
was saying-
down.
Something
was-
higher
Something
than the police.
But yeah, somebody was putting the kibosh on this. That's what I think.
It's which makes you feel like there's something spy related, some nefarious kind of other goals and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jessica Thompson, I'll say it here, sue me, had something to do with it.
I don't
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I don't know if we're getting into theories, but like for some reason, I don't think she did it. I feel like
No, I feel like they were partners or lovers or something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of the reason why when she saw the plaster mold, refused to look back at it, almost fainted.
Yeah.
She didn't want to talk about it. She was pissed. She was probably pissed that this was like her lover or the father of her child.
Yeah.
And also coworker, as always happens. A man and woman cannot be spies together without falling in love. That's just, everyone knows that. And then like she can't actually tell anybody. She can't help them solve it without all she knows, or they'll have to take her out next.
Yeah.
right.
There was also something that like somebody's bag was found with a syringe on it, but I don't remember where that was.
They found it just like in her house. And you're like, huh,
How to daffodil, or what was the name of the flower?
daffodil.
They were growing all over the outside of her house.
It's a beautiful garden.
That's really funny.
I mean, definitely, this is a worldwide we were had case.
Yeah. Well, it
yes.
also if
Because they brought in so many other countries, they brought in all these other different things, which is like that's wild that they had so many different people working on it. But
Yeah.
also, that's the problem with 1948. Okay, tough to get the word around.
yeah.
Right.
Are they calling people on a telegraph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
They send a pigeon carrier to
Yeah.
England. You seen this guy?
Seen this guy?
But I think that's really unspy-like of her to see the photo of him or the
bust.
the thing and be like grossed out by it and like, oh, I can't look at it. It's like, shouldn't you have a harder stomach for that?
Maybe
if you're-
not. I wasn't reading that as grossed out. More like she didn't. It was upsetting to look
Right,
at
right, right.
because it was the face of a man that she knew.
Yeah, I know, but aren't spies supposed to be like hardened?
Okay.
Cold blooded.
What are you, Black Widow over here? I don't know what.
No, I see what you're saying. Like would James Bond be like, oh,
No, James
My
Bond
love,
would be
but
like,
here's the thing
I've
you guys are
never
forgetting.
seen her before.
She's a woman.
I think it's an actual line.
Oh, any final thoughts here before we close?
Jessica's a whore.
No, but we should keep updating the fans on this one.
Yeah.
Because
This is
sounds
one that we
very
want to
live.
keep up with. It's very live. It's very current. It's very of the times.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to say finger on the pulse here. I have some fun photos to share with the crew.
Good.
Yes.
Like the ripped out paper. It looks like a little scroll. The book with the missing thing. You know, they had like the little thing of the code and that kind of stuff. Imagine one of our Instagram followers is just like, that means whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Just immediately.
Yeah, he just gets it.
That's funny.
Listen, we were had, and we will continue to keep track of this one.
Yeah, and if you guys have any other ones to suggest, hit us up.
Yeah, please.
Unless they're stupid, and otherwise we won't do them. But, good ones that we like.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.